Hello. How's it going? Can you hear me? Whoever is there, let me know if you can hear me because I forgot to plug in my fancy microphone thing. So I'm using my computer microphone. So can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Anybody, please? All right. So I'm going to assume that you can hear me. So I wanted to do this for now on every Sunday. Basically, go over how my analysis would have changed from when I normally post my analysis on Thursday. As you can see, my half of my analysis was written on Wednesday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, but then I stopped for a little bit because of other stuff, and then I finished most of it up on Saturday. But I posted updates on Saturday. So this is kind of unnecessary, but I figured that I would, do a video here and open it up for any questions people have, assuming anybody shows up. As of right now, there's one person, and if that person is not asking questions, then I guess I'll just talk about things. So I'd say, if we're going to go and look at my favorites for the day, which I will now do because, again, I don't know where everybody is, but there's only two people here. Normally I would have more people than two people after I'm live for a couple of minutes, but, I guess I haven't done this in a while. I shouldn't be that surprised. So, I wrote about it. I really, really like Matthew Stafford today. I really, really like Herbert today. If we're going to try to save some money, I don't think you need to go under those two guys. Both of them should. I mean, I like Stafford the best for the price because I think the Chargers will be able to just run it. Hello, Shoebox. How's it going? You can hear me, right? Can everybody hear me? I just want to make sure because I'm using my computer's built-in mic instead of my mic because I forgot to plug it in. I got too excited about doing the video. So, yes, please let me know that you can hear me. Okay? Please let me know. So Stafford is going to be my favorite of the cheap guys. I think he's going to have to throw it all game. It's going to be wonderful for fantasy purposes. But if you want to pay up, then Kyler Murray and Russ Wilson look absolutely fantastic today. I also don't mind a Rodgers to Davante Adams stack. If anything, I think the Rodgers to Davante Adams stack holds even more water. If you look at the way people do their thinking about DFS, I'll say, you have a lot of people who assume like a 1-to-1. Like if somebody is out, then all of their touches or all of their targets are going to go to one other person. Or that, if a running back is out, that 100% plays that were going to be running back plays are still going to be running back plays, even though the personnel has changed. And I think that is folly. If Aaron Jones is out, it does not mean that all of Aaron Jones's plays are now going to be run by Williams and Dillon. They could just cut back on running back plays and do more passing, which it's Green Bay. So it's not like that's an impossible thing to believe that, Aaron Rodgers is going to throw more instead of them running it more, which is a new development that's happened over the last, year or so since Aaron Jones has really stepped up. Even before that, when they were running a committee of Jones and Jamal Williams, he was still throwing it all the time. So what we're seeing now is, I would think we're going to hearken back to more of a Aaron Rodgers throwing game. And while I love Williams and Dillon, and I would play the absolute living hell out of both of them. Again, do not ignore the Aaron Rodgers Davante Adams stack today. I think you would do yourself some favors. So yeah, there's a lot of quarterbacks that I really really like. I'm doing pretty bad, to be honest. Can't sugarcoat it, but I'm still fighting, still still doing my best. My wife got me a new chair. My other chair, one of the cats peed on it, unfortunately, and it became unusable after that. So my wife got me a new chair, computer chair thing for my birthday, with the hopes that I would be able to sit down here and do more work with the injury. But it turns out that even though they didn't advertise it, it's an ergonomic chair. So there's this big bump right where the back pain that I have stems from. And I've just keep feeling this shooting pain going down my hip and leg while I sit here. So I'm gonna adjust really quickly here, and I apologize. I think I'm gonna sit forward more like this and see if I can get that to work. Otherwise, this is going to be really bad, and I'm not going to be able to sit here very much. Okay, so I got 8 people here now, which again, I was hoping to have close to 100, but I haven't been doing this stuff lately, so I can't be too surprised. But the whole point of this, normally I'd go over things that are new that we learned over the course of the week. This would be like an update to my analysis. But since my analysis was published, yesterday and today, it's kind of a moot point. So I would like to do questions and answers, or if there's something you would like in a more general sense, if you would like me to talk about a game or a position or game theory, strategy, whatever, please let me know. Please type something. I would absolutely love to do that. Alternately, I can always go outside to my car and spend a few minutes on Periscope, which might make it easier for people to comment back. I tried to do Twitch, but I just kind of signed up for it, and there's like a fuzz here, and I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm not. I just turned 39 on Friday. I'm not the youngest dude. The viability of using AJ Dillon is extremely high. The problem with using AJ Dillon is there's a couple things. Well, on FanDuel, I mean, it's even harder because you only get 2, right? So, excuse me. I think Jamal Williams is a safer bet. I think like a Gio Bernard is a safer bet. Let me check what Gio's price is on FanDuel because I do not remember. Gio is 4,800 on FanDuel versus 4,500 for Dillon. So as of right now, the way I do my projections, and I'll say this: there's only a couple of people on. I have, for football, very very hands-on projections. I do a lot of work, and some of it is back end automated math, based on history and DVP and how the opponent's defense is doing, and all this other stuff. But I also have a section of my projections that are based on what I think the player's target share or run share is going to be. So I put in a percentage of what percent of the running back work, anybody is going to get on a team. So, for a Derrick Henry gets like 100%, because even if he's only playing 90 to 95% of the snaps, he's producing like 100% of the time running back. If we're looking at like a share, I might go 50-50. As of right now, I have it set up for Jamal Williams getting 60% of the touches and running back receptions, and Dillon getting 40% of the work. And as of right now, on FanDuel, That gives Jamal Williams about 15 points, and it gives A.J. Dillon about 8.5. On the other hand, and this is something I was talking about on the Discord earlier, Gio Bernard is 4,800, and he's looking to get about 15 points. And this is something I think is really, really important, and something I think we need to not forget. One of the things that happens a lot, and we see this, is on a Sunday morning, some news breaks, and everyone goes nuts, and they all try as hard as they can to get a new shiny toy in there, somebody whose viability opened up. It becomes like, oh wow, let me get off whoever, and I'm going to get somebody from Green Bay. And I'm not saying that's a bad play. I'm really not. I love Williams. I love Dillon. Jones was one of my favorite plays of the day, if you read my analysis. And you can't go wrong with having had Aaron Jones had he played. Sorry, the stutter comes back sometimes. But what you can't do is let a shiny new toy push you off of someone who may have been better. So what I was asking when I woke up this morning at about 8:30 or 9 o'clock, while I was getting my pain under control, I was on my Discord, and I was talking to a couple of people, and I was musing, I wonder if Aaron Jones is out, what Gio Bernard's ownership is going to be. Because if Aaron Jones is playing, I would have expected Bernard to be an incredibly popular play. The way I expect, people today are going to play one expensive running back and one cheap running back, and then hopefully a third running back. They should play a third running back. This is a 3 running back day if I ever saw one. But I expected, a lot of people to have like Kamara, and then a lot of people to have Gio Bernard. And then I thought, if Jones is out, how many people that were on Gio Bernard are going to pivot to a Williams or a Dillon? And I think it's a little number. So I think what you're going to wind up getting is Gio Bernard at a pretty decent ownership discount because this news came out so late. So whereas Gio Bernard would have been eating the chalk, yesterday, today he might be a way to get over a field that I will say overreacts to the Aaron Jones news. Pardon me. Having stomach issues, so it's either Sprite or ginger ale for me. Yeah, it's Joseph. That's exactly what I expect a lot of people to do. When I'm looking at the slate, Kamara Gio looks like one of the, if not the most reasonable way to go, and then trying to separate yourself in other places. So, I think that we're going to see a lot of people who were doing the Kamara Bernard thing instead take a savings and go down to like a Dillon and then put that extra money, or Williams, and put that extra money into like a wide receiver or a tight end. Try to get a little bit of a better defense. Excuse me. Even though, as I wrote about, there are only 2 defenses that I even want to play. If I was playing, 150 lineups, I would have like 45% exposure to Buffalo, 45% exposure to Washington against Dallas. And then 10% I would just let it go and see what it comes up with. But, I don't trust Andy Dalton, so I want Washington at 2,500. If they were 4,000, maybe I'd say like, the talent outweighs the risk there. But at 2,500, ooh, Washington's been ranked as a top 10 defense. If you look at like defensive efficiency, all that other stuff. So yeah, I like them. And then Buffalo against the Jets, it's like, the only concern that you could have there is, if you remember what happened with, I think it was Baltimore and Philly 2 weeks ago when Baltimore had such a lead and Philly was doing so pathetically that they kind of just took their foot off the gas, and then Philly eventually worked their way back to the game. I that's the only concern I have, is that Buffalo is going to come out to like a 21, 28 to nothing lead in the second quarter and then be like, all right, let's cruise. Which is also why today on Discord I was saying that I like Zach Moss a lot. I said it in the article too. I don't, again, I'm not going to say he's better than Bernard. I'm not going to say he's better than those guys on Green Bay. But if you're playing a scrimmage, your goal is to, not it as long as your starters are hot and they're in shape. Your goal in a scrimmage is to make sure some other guys can get some touches. Let the rookies get a go. Let some of the fourth wide receiver, the fifth wide receiver down the line, let them get a couple looks. So I think today, if any day, is a day you might see Zach Moss get some real looks, because what the hell else? If the Bills are winning 21 to nothing, why are you going to run Singletary into the ground, right? It doesn't make any sense. If you're up 21 to nothing, 28 to 3, why are you not going to let the rookie get that NFL experience against a real NFL team in the New York Jets? I think Zach Moss is one of those guys today where if you're playing a lot of lineups, make sure you have at least a couple Zach Mosses. Please ask me some questions. I just waxed about AJ Dillon and turned that into that. So I can go for, I want to stop at about 12:30 so that I can do my lineups. But I am here to answer any questions that you guys have for the next half hour. Otherwise, again, I can just wax philosophical or otherwise, if you would prefer. And I'm sorry about you can see, that's the difference between me having a white page up here. Ooh, yes, my projections are updated. If there is something I missed, please let me know. But I have Jones out, and I don't know if there was any other breaking news this morning besides that. So if there was, please let me know. But I have everyone out that I thought was going to be out or that I saw was out, like Crowder, and Jones is out. So Kerry Walker asks, Galladay or Lockett in cash? That is a wonderful question, and I wish you could play both, because both are wonderful plays. The way I look at it, right? If you wanted to separate those two, and this could be a general thing as well, right? Holistically, let's look at the way you expect those games to play out, right? Both are obviously supposed to be high-scoring games, played relatively close. But as of right now, excuse me. Oh my, I'm so sorry. I hope that wasn't bad for your ears. As of right now, Detroit and Atlanta are supposed to play really close. I think it's within a field goal, if I looked at the odds right this morning. And Detroit is supposed to play from behind. Detroit's supposed to lose the game. So what we should see there is the possibility, at least, of Galladay being used constantly and into the late game. Whereas in Seattle, with Seattle, I don't like DK Metcalf. If you looked at my analysis, I expect him to be shadowed. And I just don't like that matchup. Patterson's just fantastic, obviously. No one's who doesn't, unless you only know DFS. If you know football, you know that, which is going to leave a lot of looks for Lockett. And he's by far the best receiver who's going to be left over there. I'm not going to trust Olsen or David Moore, Will Disley as much as Tyler Lockett. And if they want to keep attacking the slot, which they can against Arizona, Lockett's going to be in for a really good game. But and this is the separator, Kerry. Seattle's supposed to win by, what was it, like 6 points, 5, 6 points, give or take. So if Seattle does come out to a decent lead, that production for Lockett could stop. They could decide to just lean on Carson and try to start running down the clock, starting at the end of the third, beginning of the fourth, especially if they've slowed up the Arizona defense coming out of the half. So, again, I really do like both because I think that what you'll see with Lockett is a lot of production quickly at the beginning. And if that game stays close, then he's in the mix for a decent amount. I mean, a decent amount of production all game, given the way Arizona plays their coverage. And Detroit, Atlanta, again, that's just, for me, Detroit is a team that wants to pass. Galladay is their number one option. Stafford's going to throw all the time. Atlanta's not going to stop them. And they should be behind. To me, that's gold. I don't have... Here, let me check something real quick here. As of right now, let me see if this is updated. Okay, so the ownership projections have been updated, right? As of right now, Stafford is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 at 7.5%, which is good, but it's not like he's chalk. Kyler Murray is almost 13. Russell Wilson's almost 9. They're both over him. You can get Mahomes for 5%, but Tannehill for 3% looks really nice. But Stafford there looks really, really good. And then if you go to Galladay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He's 6th at 12.5%. So that's more chalky. But again, he's in such a good spot. I don't know how you can't love him. Really love him at this point. On top of that, Lockett is slightly higher owned than him by about 2.5%, 3%. So on top of Galladay possibly having a longer relevant time to play, Galladay possibly outscoring him, you could get him for slightly less ownership too if you're not playing both. So I hope that answered that question. Let's see. Braden asks, oh man, my chest. Kerry, I'm really glad to be here. I'm glad to, I hope I can do these 4 things a week, every week until football season's over, and I'll get to you in a second, Braden. Getting to do the what we learned article should be really helpful to folks. A Thursday showdown is just common sense, but I want to do that as a video sometimes. And then the normal weekly analysis. So it's really good to be able to do it. I hope that the pain allows me to keep doing it because as of right now, it's hit or miss, to be honest. Herbert or Tom Brady, give me Herbert. And that's, to me, Braden, that's not even close. Not even close. Give me Herbert light years ahead of Tom Brady today. If you got to look at my analysis, and I know the analysis for both of these games came out late, so it's possible you didn't, and that's my fault, not yours. But I talked about how I expect these games to go. Tampa Bay, Vegas, I expect Tampa Bay to absolutely club them. Tampa Bay has the number 1 defense in football when it comes to defensive efficiency. They are just going to be relentless. Vegas is going to have a really hard time stopping them because Vegas does not have a good defense. So you're going to get a team that's able to score at will and able to stop the opponent's team. To me, that's like a Ronald Jones game. So I love Ronald Jones today. I think he's going to be incredibly underowned because people are worried about Fournette, and I don't blame them. Fournette is certainly a giant stick in the spokes of the bike that is DFS. But I still like Jones a lot, and he's not being owned at all. And it's certainly possible, he gets you 20, 25 DKP again today, and they're just easing Fournette back in and not using him in like a high pressure situations like that. Meanwhile, Herbert, I expect to have to throw all game. Well, no, that's not true. I don't expect Herbert to have to throw all game because their opponent is really bad, but they are the worst at stopping the pass in football. So if you are looking at, who has the biggest advantage there, it's going to be the Chargers because Jacksonville is Darnold is active. Okay, I missed that one. Because Jacksonville is not just the worst at stopping a pass, but they are like leaps and bounds worse at stopping the pass than even the 31st team. 32nd is just so much worse. So I think we're going to see a lot of like Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, Herbert today. And if you want to stack all three, I don't think you're crazy if you can afford it. That's not a bad play at all. So while again, I wrote this. If you want to play, both of the Chargers running backs, that's not crazy at all. But I think that they can just pass them to death and then not take their foot off of it, especially with the rookie quarterback, right? If this were Tom Brady on the Chargers, then I would probably say lean on the run because what the hell does Tom Brady have to do at 48 years old? I know he's not 48. But for a rookie who's going to get a good chance to get some good throws and good work in here, you have to consider that too. I like Herbert. I really, really like Herbert a lot today. Not as much as Stafford, mind you. So on DK, Stafford's 100 more. But if you want to pivot down to Herbert instead of Stafford, I don't think that's crazy at all. Joseph asked, who do I think is going to be good chalk today? So I can take a look at that real quick. So let's look at the people who are like over 10%. So we have Kyler Murray and Aaron Rodgers at quarterback. I would consider both of those good chalk. If I were building 20 lineups, I would probably set my Murray exposure to 15 or 20% and my Rodgers exposure to 10 to 15%. I don't want to go crazy there. So I don't think either of those are bad plays at all. I would definitely say they're good chalk. I do think there are some under-owned people here. Stafford 7.5, Mahomes at 5%. I know Denver's got some good cornerbacks and everything, but it's Mahomes. The hell are they going to do? He just throw to somebody else. It's not like you're going to stop him completely. Herbert's at 4.2%. That's crazy. But I think the real gems here, and I hate using that phrase because it got overused on the internet like a decade ago, are Tannehill at 2.9% and Roethlisberger at 2.6%. I wrote about it. I think that game is going to be a lot higher scoring than people think or people realize. Like it's 51 right now. I think it's going to go over that. And it's going to be a game where they do a lot of throwing. Like I know Henry's great. I know Connor is great, but I think that's going to be a throw-centric game. So having Tannehill and Roethlisberger at such low ownership, I think, is just a fantastic, fantastic play. If we're looking at running backs, we have Kamara at 32%, which, I mean, that's too low. I would have more than that. I would go 50% Kamara in my lineups today. I have no problem with that. Then we get to one here, Kareem Hunt at 6,800 at 25.7%. I don't like that at all. Like I don't mind Kareem Hunt today. I would play some Kareem Hunt today. Don't get me wrong, but Kareem Hunt against Cincinnati, it's. I don't think they're going to need him as much, and he's one of those injury-prone guys that you're not going to push unless you really need to push him, right? Especially with Chubb on the IR, if you can get away with not pushing Hunt and not risking an injury-prone player from getting injured, then why wouldn't you do that? And we saw, last week, Ernest Johnson get a bunch. We saw Hilliard get a bunch. I mean, not like a majority, but they were close combined to getting 50% of the touches. So Kareem Hunt as the second highest owned running back, I think is especially bad chalk. I would have maybe 10 to 15% Kareem Hunt. So if I'm playing 20, I'm having him in like two lineups, maybe, especially at 6,800 when there are a slew of players I would rather have. I would rather save a couple grand and go down to someone who could outscore Kareem Hunt today. I would rather save a little bit of money and go to like a Gurley who I wrote about. Detroit cannot stop the run. Atlanta's supposed to play with the lead. So Gurley could have another 25 DKP game, and no one is on him. I'd rather save that money and go with someone there. So Kareem Hunt at 25% is, I don't understand that at all. And then under him is Jamal Williams at 24% and Gio Bernard at 21%. And as I talked about before, I think those are both good chalk. I think Williams is a little more risky. I don't think a little more. He's a lot more risky than a Bernard because you don't know if he's going to get moved to the number one spot or if they're going to let Dillon take over that and Williams is going to maintain his, pass catching third down role. Regardless, he's minimum priced for a running back, so you can't really go bad there. And then A.J. Dillon right now is only projected to be 3.5% owned, which is shockingly low. So if that is indeed accurate, I think you have to have some shares of him. But after Gio Bernard, so Gio Bernard, like I said, is about 21.5% projected. The next closest player is 11% under that. Chris Carson is at 10.5% projected at number 5. So after those four chalk, Kamara, Hunt, Williams, Bernard, it opens up. So if you want to play, a Latavius Murray as a pivot because they're going to run it down their throats all day, do it. If you want to play a Gurley, do it. If you want to play a Josh Kelly or Jackson from the Chargers, do it. You like Derrick Henry today, do it. You're getting such good ownership. Ronald Jones, 3.6%. Oh, that's just beautiful. That's beautiful. There are just so many good running backs that aren't being looked at who may not have as good projections as these other chalky guys, but chalk can blow up in your face plenty of times. So we've all seen it happen. All it takes is one tweak to a game plan or one turnover and everything's completely different. Now looking at, absolutely, it's my pleasure. I'm going to keep going because I have 14 more minutes before I want to stop, and I got wide receivers to talk about. When it comes to wide receivers, again, there's not much here that is worth criticizing because there's not much here that is like far over where I would go, if I was being really, really careful. You know what I mean? Like Devontae Adams is the highest owned wide receiver right now projected, and he's about at 21%. If I was playing 20 lineups, that's 4 lineups with Devontae Adams. I would go 5 or 6 lineups with Devontae Adams today. Maybe not, but I don't think that would be crazy. Maybe it wouldn't wind up that way, but I wouldn't think that having that as a ceiling is too bad. Terry McLaurin is probably my single favorite non-stack wide receiver today. Like if you're playing a wide receiver you're just filling in a wide receiver slot. Terry McLaurin is probably my favorite play on the day for the price and for everything else. He could monster off against this Dallas team, and he's going to get as many targets as they can give him. This is not one where you're going to see, Dontrell Inman and Sims really cut into his share if they don't have to. McLaurin is going to do what he needs to do, and it's going to be crazy. He's at 19%. I think that's too low. I would have him guaranteed in 5 or 6 of my 20 lineups if I was running that. After that, it goes down to 15%. So again, we're going to see a little gap here, and that's Tyler Lockett, who again I talked about, like him a lot. After that is Hopkins for Arizona. Assuming he plays, you can't go wrong there. But I actually wouldn't mind a pivot down to Kirk. You can save some money and get some less ownership. And he showed you last game, he is not a joke. That dude has some serious talent. Murray likes him plenty, and he could he could put some real points up. So if everyone is looking at Hopkins, and Kirk has fallen to 5% ownership, which is indeed the case. I like that Kirk pivot a lot, especially, what is it, at 4,900. Yeah, ooh, that's beautiful. After Hopkins, it gets a little more interesting. Traquan Smith is the 5th highest projected owned player. I love the 4,000 price tag, but we're at the point there I have no faith that he's going to be the guy. Like, he could be the guy, but why? Kamara should be able to handle that game. They have enough options that it's a too many cooks situation. And I mean that as a pun, because of their tight end. But it's not like Thomas and Sanders go away, and now Traquan Smith is immediately going to get all that work. The fact that he's 13% is understandable. Don't get me wrong, right? Don't get me wrong. But it's not like Breeze doesn't also really like Deontay Harris when he's healthy. If you go, no, it's not far enough. I don't have it up, so I'm not going to waste your time. But he likes Deontay Harris just fine. The one that I really think you need to look at is Jared Cook, who is 2% owned, 2.9% owned, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13th highest owned tight end, right? And he might get the most targets on that team, right? Again, if New Orleans has the lead, right? Think about it. Think about football. Don't think about, oh, it's New Orleans. Michael Thomas is not there. Emmanuel Sanders isn't there. There are all these reception yards to go around, because that's not how it works, right? It's not a one-to-one thing. These people being out doesn't mean there's all these reception yards. It means that they have to change the way they play the game. And it might work out that there's a bunch of wide receivers that get some work, or receivers that get some work, and it might not work out that way. They might lean more heavily on the run game. Now, New Orleans is supposed to win this game pretty handily, which is something I wrote about, which means you would expect the run game to do most of the work. With these wide receivers out, why would that be any different? Why would you think that they're suddenly going to make all of these mediocre to good wide receivers 13% owned on a slate like this, when there's no reason he's going to have to throw it, right? If there's just no reason he's going to have to throw it. Can Traquan Smith do great? Oh, yes, absolutely. any receiver on New Orleans can do great anytime Drew Brees is throwing the ball, especially with Thomas out and their second wide receiver out, as we've seen in the past. But this is not like New Orleans versus Green Bay or something like that, where I would expect them to have to throw back and forth all game. This is a game where I expect New Orleans to let Kamara do the work, and then when Kamara doesn't want to do the work, they'll let Latavius Murray do the work. And then when Kamara's ready again, they're going to go back to Kamara. And they'll keep running down the clock with short passes to like Jared Cook, short dump offs to the running back, maybe some Deontay Harris, whoever's playing slot that time, and then they'll just let the game, run out, and that's it. That's a game. So I don't think that's good chalk. Again, not a bad play, but I don't think it's good chalk. Kenny Golladay is next at 12.5, and I already said I love him. Keenan Allen goes hand in hand with Herbert, so a lot. And then DK Metcalf is the only other wide receiver over 10%. And as I explained, he's getting shadowed by one of the best cornerbacks in the NFL. There aren't many teams that still do shadowing, but Arizona's one of them, and they're going to have their best dude and one of the best dudes in the NFL, Patterson, on his ass all game. So Metcalf, I do not like. I would consider that bad chalk as well. I will note that after Metcalf, Ridley and Julio Jones are both tied at just under 10%. And I do like those guys a lot, but I think Gurley is still my favorite play on Atlanta. And then we have 6 more minutes. So I will do tight ends as well. The overwhelming chalkiest tight end is Kelsey at 19.5%. Next is Darren Waller at 11.5%. And after that, Hunter Henry at 9%. So apart from Kelsey and a little bit Waller, there really is no chalk at tight end. It's just a big mash of people that you can get under-owned if you want, and I think you should. Kelsey, is he a good play? Yeah, he's a fine play. Is Denver going to use their cornerbacks on just mediocre wide receivers, or are they going to use the elite cornerbacks on Kelsey and Hill? I would assume they use them on Kelsey and Hill, so maybe Kelsey's not the best chalk here for the second most expensive. Waller, I do like a lot, but again, at the second most owned against that Tampa Bay defense, not a big fan of that either. Hunter Henry I like, but again, Hunter Henry is someone that if the Chargers throw, he's going to get a lot of looks, and the Chargers are probably going to throw, but he might get a few receptions, but he might not pay off. He might not get those end zone looks that he's going to need to pay off. So what do you like? I actually do like a lot of guys here. In no particular order. I really like O'Shaughnessy for Jacksonville. With Eifert out, you're going to see Minshew continue to work tight ends with the wide receivers as much as he can, and O'Shaughnessy's the only one left. He's 2,600. That opens up a lot. I think Noah Fant at 4,800 for Denver is going to be one of, if not the premier option for Denver. He might be one of the best pass catchers they have right now, if not the best. I think it's totally feasible to take him. I think Logan Thomas is going to get a lot of work today. I think if you look at Washington, he's become like the number 2 option. And I like another guy a lot, Darren Fells, with him being the only real pass-catching tight end in Houston, and with the way they've pivoted in the last year. I don't know if you guys have been playing DFS for a while, but Houston used to be notorious for never using the tight end. And now they've been really going nuts with the tight end over the last, like I said, year. So I really, really like Fells a lot. Yeah, Metcalf is going to be overowned for that. I think so too, Joseph. Who's in for Adams? What am I missing? What am I missing? Is Devontae Adams out? Is Devontae Adams out? Did I miss something? What is going on here? Someone tell me what that means. And what about Njoku? I like Njoku a lot. I think that okay, so Njoku is going to be what is it, the fifth, sixth highest owned tight end. But if you look, they've been really happy to use Harrison Bryant in the end zone. So I might want to take a pivot for Harrison Bryant. But all right, it is 12:30. My stomach is making all sorts of terrible noises, so I'm going to go take care of that. Thank you all very much for joining me. I'm going to do this every Sunday. And I'll have updates and take your questions, and we can go back and forth for almost an hour every Sunday. I hope you get some use out of it. It'll be free no matter where it is. I might be on Twitch or another platform. I'm not sure, but thank you all very much. All my love to you. Best of luck today. I hope one of you all takes $1 million home. All right. Just let me know. Just let me know, please. And y'all win big. Just let me know. That's all I wanted. I get so happy knowing that people win big. Okay. I love you all. Best of luck today. And I'll see you guys next week. Let's win some money.